everyone, Karandi here, and today I am looking at the weird episode titles that some anime have as I count down my top 5. Now, frequently when watching an anime from week to week, I don't actually know what individual episodes are called, and it's only when I open the DVD case or go for a rewatch later that I really start paying attention and realize, what on earth is this that I'm looking at? Some anime go for a thematic approach to titles, some just seem to want to put their whole plot description into their episode title, and others I really can't see much connection at all between the episode title and the episode itself. Whichever way, today I'm looking at the 5 anime that have really stood out to me for their episode titles. I'm going to give out 2 honourable mentions before I start my list, and these go to Akame ga Kill and Black Butler. Both of these have thematic episode naming, and they're both quite entertaining to have a look at when you see them in the DVD case. At number 5, we have Not Enough Pool Safety by Amagi Brilliant Park. Now, Amagi also goes for thematic naming for most of the series, with episode titles such as Not Enough Time and Not Enough Money. While those are pretty straightforward, I pulled out episode 7's Not Enough Pool Safety because of the episode content that goes with it. While the episode titles seem straightforward enough, it still doesn't prepare you for magical pirate invaders taking control of a theme's pool park area. The title is descriptive but deceptive at the same time, and it certainly caught my interest. Taking the number 4 position is From Dusk Till Dawn, which is from Dance in the Vampire Bund. Now, horror references abound in the episode titles of Dance in the Vampire Bund. Interview with the Vampire, Teen Wolf, and Howling all feature in the lineup. From Dusk Till Dawn episode 6 kind of feels like the turning point of the series in terms of atmosphere and the character arcs, which is why I also really liked this particular reference. Not to mention, it's pretty much a classic of horror lovers, so you really do have to appreciate it. Stepping into number 3, we have The First Semicolon by Astaroth's Toy. All of the episode titles in this series seem to use punctuation, and none of it seems to make a great deal of sense. Ampersand of the party and secret apostrophe feature, but I chose The First Semicolon because mostly no one really seems to know how to actually use a semicolon correctly, and because it is the second episode of a series, and that is where I actually noticed for the first time what they were doing with the titles. The first episode uses an exclamation, but I didn't actually realize why they'd used the word until the rest of the episode titles were revealed. It is potentially another case of anime titles using punctuation incorrectly, and long-time readers know my issue with multiple exclamation points. However, it does make for some weird episode titles, which is why it deserves a place on my list. Claiming the number 2 spot is My Cell Phone Doesn't Get Many Calls from Haganai. Again, all of the episode titles in this series are kind of long and descriptive. I just found this one particularly amusing because it is an understatement of the situation in the episode, and it leads us into quite an amusing situation where the characters realize they can use their phones to call places other than home, and they can also add numbers and emails to their phones. While there are other anime that do similar things with their title, I just find this one particularly funny, and it really seems to fit the tone of the show. However, the number 1 on my list this week comes from Bakano. And I'm going to apologize before I even try because I'm going to stuff up the character name. Cheslaw Maya is forced to rework his tremble before the spectre of immortal strategy. I could have chosen any of the episode titles from Bakano, but this one really resonated when I'm looking for a weird anime title. Each episode title starts with a character name and then reveals something fundamental about the character and the plot, only you won't really realize the full extent of it until after you've watched the whole series and really gone back and looked at how it all lines up. In this episode, part of it at least, Cheslaw attempts to convince Lad to kill the other passengers on the train, but he miscalculates his approach and ends up being shot himself. This moment is more revealing than it might seem at first, and as you learn more about the character, you start to get a really interesting picture of him and his motivations. Anyway, that is my list today. So I would love to hear from you. What episode titles have caught your eye? Be sure to visit the blog and leave me a comment. 100word anime.blog. This is Karandi. See ya!